The Galactic Council issued a threat. Earth responded with a declaration of war. But long before that bold reply, one girl sat in a quiet room, missing someone far away, unsure of how to reach them again. Her heart wasn't preparing for battle. It was waiting to be heard. Alina Torres sat by her window, staring at the stars. She used to love space. As a child, she would name the constellations and dream of going beyond the moon. But tonight, she wasn't looking at the stars to dream. She was looking at them to feel close to someone she missed, her older brother. Leo had moved to the Mars colony 2 years ago. He was a space engineer, always building, always learning. When he left, he promised they'd stay close. "Distance means nothing," he said with a smile. "We'll talk all the time." But life had gotten busy. Calls became shorter, then fewer. Then, weeks passed without a word. Now, Alina was 17 and tired of pretending she didn't care. She missed him, not just his voice, but the way he used to believe in her when she doubted herself. Leo always reminded her that humanity never stopped reaching. "We're built for challenge," he used to say. "That's who we are." But right now, she didn't feel strong. She felt forgotten. Her parents were busy with their work at the observatory. Earth was changing quickly. Space was no longer the future, it was the present. The Galactic Council had made their threat last week, and everyone was talking about it. News anchors, politicians, students, all debating what Earth should do. But Alina wasn't thinking about the Council. She was thinking about her brother. When the Council's message came, she expected to hear from him. Always wanted to talk about space politics. This time, he said nothing. She picked up her old tablet and stared at his last message. Just a short "Hey, I've been swamped. Miss you. Talk soon." That was 3 weeks ago. She typed a new message, then erased it. Then typed it again. "I wish you'd write back. I miss you. I don't even care about the Council. I just want my big brother again." She stared at the words, feeling her throat tighten. She didn't send it. She didn't want to sound weak, but she wasn't weak. She was human. She thought about everything Leo used to tell her. About humanity's past, how people once crossed oceans without knowing what was on the other side. How explorers walked into darkness and built homes on other worlds. How Earth had always stood up after falling. Alina whispered, "If they can do all that, maybe I can send one honest message." She sent it. Then she cried. The next morning, there was no reply. And the next day, still nothing. But on the third day, a message appeared. "Alina, I'm so sorry. Saw your message, and I didn't know what to say. I've been tired, scared honestly. The Council's threat has shaken everyone out here. I didn't want you to see me like this, but I realize now, being human means not hiding. It means reaching out anyway. I miss you too. I'll call tonight." Her heart jumped. She smiled so hard it hurt. That night she heard Leo's voice again. It was scratchy from the connection, but real. They talked for an hour, about space, about fear, about missing each other, about what it means to be human in a time of stars and threats. They didn't solve everything, but they found something. Stronger than answers, they found each other again. At the end of the call, Leo said, "You reminded me who I am.
We're from Earth.
You gave me that tonight." Alina went to bed with a full heart. She looked at the stars again, not with sadness, but with strength. Even across space, even in silence, people could still find each other. That was the power of being human, and the galaxy was about to learn just how powerful that could be. Asterisk, the Galactic Council issued a threat. Earth responded with a declaration of war. But in the middle of that growing storm, one boy on Mars missed someone back on Earth. And though he didn't know how to reconnect, he still hoped that silence could be broken. Leo Torres stared at the red sky from the observation dome on Mars. It had been another long day of system repairs and emergency meetings. Ever since the Council's warning, people on the colony had been nervous. Security drills, communication updates, quiet whispers in the cafeteria, but Leo's mind wasn't. Only on the Council. It was on his sister, Alina. He had received her message days ago. It had shaken him. Her words were soft but powerful. "I just want my big brother again," he'd replied. He'd even called. But now, the silence had returned. Lena hadn't written back yet. Maybe she was busy. Or maybe she didn't know what to say, just like he hadn't at first. He felt distant, not just across space, but inside his heart. Leo hadn't realized how lonely he'd become. Mars was exciting, sure, but it was also quiet. Empty, even with people around. Everyone wore the same suits, followed the same schedules. It was efficient, but it didn't feel like home. He used to talk to Alina about everything. School, history, their dreams. She had a wild imagination. He remembered when she drew pictures of Earth's first interstellar ship, even before it existed. "You think too big?" it once told her. "No," she said. "Earth thinks big. We're just catching up." He smiled at the memory now. He felt like he was behind. The council's message had drained him. They said Earth must step back, stay quiet, or risk being isolated. The Mars colony had followed Earth's lead, watching, waiting. Leo felt torn. He wanted peace. But he also believed Earth had a right to grow, to reach, to dream. He just didn't know how to say it anymore. Not to the council, not to the colony, not even to his sister. Later that night, he walked to the communication room. He sat at a small console, unsure of what to do. He pulled up the message screen. Elena's name glowed softly. He began typing. "Elena, I don't know what to say sometimes. I miss how easy it used to be. I miss our talks. Maybe we both got busy. We forgot how important it is to hold on. But I'm here, trying. I hope you are too." He paused. "And thank you. You reminded me that being human doesn't mean we never feel lost. It means we still try, even when we are." He sent the message. The next day, Earth replied. Not just Alina. The planet had sent its own message to the Galactic Council. Not one of surrender, but one of strength. The declaration was bold, but peaceful. Said Earth would not be silenced. It would stand proud, seek connection, and never give up its right to grow. The colony leaders on Mars called a meeting. People whispered again, but this time with curiosity. Leo sat near the back, listening. One commander spoke firmly. "Earth has made its stand. The council may answer with silence or with challenge, but whatever comes, we will stay united." Leo looked out the dome again. Somewhere beyond that red sky was Earth, blue, bright, alive, and Alina. His tablet buzzed. "I got your message," she wrote. "Thank you. I'm still learning how to feel brave again. But I think I found it today. Your words helped." Also, she added, "I told my class about you. How my brother works on Mars. How he still remembers what matters." Leo laughed. He didn't feel so far anymore. Hope wasn't about having all the answers. It was about reaching out again and again, even across space, even through silence. That was the human way. And now, even with stars between them, Leo and Alina were closer than ever. The Galactic Council issued a threat. Earth responded with a declaration of war. But far from the headlines, one girl waited patiently for a single message from someone she still believed in. 'Cause sometimes humanity's strength is not in shouting back, but in holding on. Alina sat at her desk, her fingers resting on the cold edge of her tablet. It had been 5 days since Leo's last message. She had read his words again and again. He said he was trying, that being human meant reaching, even when lost. It had touched her deeply, and yet she still felt unsure. Was a message enough? She missed his voice. Her school had been busy all week, ever since Earth's declaration. Reach the stars, teachers had been talking about diplomacy, galactic law, and the Council's history. It was important, they said. It's for students to understand the weight of the moment. But Alina didn't want to think about politics. She wanted to feel close to her brother again. They used to talk for hours about space, about their favorite stories, about impossible dreams. Leo had always believed that humans didn't just survive. They adapted, they connected. They grew stronger together. Now he was far away. And Alina didn't know how to bridge the gap. She opened her notebook, the one she only wrote in when she couldn't speak. "Leo, I know we're both trying, but sometimes trying feels like not enough. I want to see your face again, want to hear your laugh. But I also know this distance isn't just about space. We're both changing, and that's okay. I just hope we can change together, not apart. She looked at the words. They weren't fancy. They weren't big. They were true. She thought about sending them as a message. But instead, she closed the notebook. She wanted something more than words on a screen that night. She went to the observatory with her mother. It was quiet there, with the soft hum of computers and the slow turn of the telescope. Elena stared through the dome glass at the stars. "Can you see Mars from here?" she asked softly. Her mother smiled. "Sometimes. Not with the naked eye, but we know it's there." Elena nodded. She liked that, we know it's there. Even if it's not visible, even if it feels far, it still exists. That's how she felt about Leo the next day. Something unexpected happened. Elena's school announced a student space project, short video message to send to the Mars colony. Part of a new connection program started by Earth's Space Relations Division. It wasn't official diplomacy, just human-to-human messages, kind words. Student voices. The teachers asked for volunteers. Elena raised her hand. She didn't know what she would say, but she knew she had to try. That evening, she sat in the small school studio. A camera light turned on. A countdown blinked. She took a deep breath. "Hello, my name is Elena Torres, from Earth." She paused. Her voice trembled, but she continued. "I have someone on Mars I care about. He's my brother. He moved there 2 years ago. We used to talk every week. Lately, it's been harder. We're both busy. We're both growing. But I want him to know something." She looked straight at the camera. "I still believe in us. Not just as family, but as humans. I believe we're strong not because we fight, but because we keep reaching for each other, no matter how far." She smiled. "I hope this message reaches you, Leo. I hope it reaches anyone who needs it. Earth is still here, and we remember." The screen turned off. Elena walked out of the room feeling lighter. She didn't know if Leo would see the message. But she had done something real, something true. Days later, the reply came, a short video. From Mars. Leo's face appeared on the screen. He looked tired, but his eyes were warm. "I saw your message," he said. "I watched it twice, then 3 times. Then I cried." He laughed softly. "You didn't just speak to me. You reminded me why we're out here, why we keep going. It's not just about missions or politics. It's about people." He leaned closer. "You're right, Elena. We're growing, but we're not growing apart. We're growing forward together." The video ended with a promise. "Next month, I'll get a 2-day break. Let's call. A long call. Just you and me." Elena held the tablet close to her chest. The stars still looked far, but her brother didn't. Hope wasn't just a word. It was a choice. One message. One call. One step at a time. That was humanity, and that was enough. Asterisk. The Galactic Council issued a threat. Earth responded with a declaration of war. But not all battles are loud. Some are quiet, like the silence between 2 hearts waiting for each other. On a peaceful evening. One sister hoped a voice from across space would finally return. Elena counted the days. Leo had promised a long call. When he got his break, "Just you and me," he'd said it had been almost a month since his message. Elena had watched it again and again, smiling every time. But now the day was here, and her stomach was full of butterflies. She sat in her room, tablet in hand, watching the clock. 5:57 p.m., he said he'd call at 6. She looked around her room. It hadn't changed much. Same books, same posters, same quiet. But she had changed just a little. She felt stronger. More sure of her feelings, and more willing to speak them. Still, a small voice in her mind whispered doubts. What if the call doesn't come? What if he forgot? What if things have changed too much? She shook the thoughts away at exactly 6 p.m. The tablet lit up. Incoming call, Leo Torres Mars, CO Lowen Waishi, answered instantly. The screen blinked once, then twice, and then his face appeared. Leo looked a little older than she remembered. Tired, maybe? But he was smiling, Elena, he said, his voice full of warmth. She grinned. You're really here, I promised, didn't I? For a moment, neither of them spoke. They just looked at each other through the screen, sharing the kind of silence that didn't feel heavy, just full. Then they began to talk. They talked about everything about the Mars colony, Earth's response to the Galactic Council. The way the stars looked from both sides of space. Leo told her about a new farming dome that just opened. Alina told him about her school project and the message she recorded. I still can't believe you said all that in front of your whole class, Leo said. I didn't do it for them, she replied. I did it for you. Leo paused. His smile softened. I think I needed to hear that more than I realized. There was a long moment of quiet. Then Alina spoke again carefully. Leo, do you ever feel like we're drifting apart? He looked surprised. You mean now? No, I mean since you left. I know we still talk, but sometimes it feels like you're on a different path, like I'm standing still, and you're flying ahead. Leo leaned back and looked up at the ceiling of his small living unit. The lights above him glowed a soft white. I felt that too, he admitted. Not just about us, about everything. Sometimes I wonder if I'm even part of the same world anymore. Mars feels far. Not just in miles, but in meaning. Alina nodded. Exactly. Look back at her, talking to you like this. It brings me back. You remind me why I'm here. Because of the council? No, he said. Because of people like you. People who still believe we're connected, even when we're far apart. Alina blinked back a few tears. I do. Believe that, she said. I believe in us. They smiled again. Then Leo's screen shook slightly. A system warning blinked behind him. Sorry, he said. Power check-in. I only have a few minutes left. Alina's heart sank. Already he nodded. Listen, I want you to know something. She leaned forward. You reminded me of who I am. Not just a space engineer. Not just a worker on Mars. I'm your brother. I care more about our bond than any system update or colony meeting. Alina whispered. Then don't disappear again. Won't, he said. A weekly call, even if it's just for 10 minutes. Deal. And when I come back for a visit next year, he added, we'll go stargazing. Just like old times. Alina laughed. I'll bring my telescope. Still works, kind of. The screen dimmed slightly. Okay, Leo said. Time's up. But thank you, Alina. You didn't just reconnect with me. You reminded me why we fight for each other. That's the real strength of humanity. She said softly. He chuckled. Yeah, humanity. Forever. The call ended. Alina sat still for a long moment, the tablet warm in her hands. Outside, the sky was clear. The stars were shining. She opened her window and looked up, thinking of Mars, of Leo, and of how far people could reach, not just through space, but through love, memory, and hope. The Galactic Council issued a threat. Earth responded with a declaration of war. But for one girl and her brother on Mars, the real battle wasn't about power. It was about closeness, love, and the invisible space that time and distance had. Built between them, Alina sat in her backyard under the night sky, her small telescope pointed toward the stars. It was a clear evening, and the air was still. She had just finished her homework, but her mind was somewhere else. Her brother, Leo, hadn't called this week. They had agreed to talk every Sunday, even if only for 10 minutes. But this Sunday had passed with silence. No message, no update. Alina tried not to worry. Maybe there was a power issue. Maybe the signal was down, or maybe he was just busy. Still, the old feelings crept back in, the sadness, the quiet doubt. She missed him. Again, even after all they had shared recently, the video messages, the long call, the promises, something still felt uncertain, fragile. She looked through the telescope. Even though she couldn't really see Mars, she imagined him there. Working in a quiet room, maybe looking up at the same stars. Why is staying close so hard? She whispered. Her mother came outside with a cup of tea. You're thinking about him again, aren't you? She asked gently. Alina nodded. Her mother sat beside her. You know, when I was younger, my sister moved to another country. No space. Travel. No colonies. Just far enough that we couldn't meet often. And even with all the letters and phone calls, sometimes we drifted. What did you do? Alina asked. We never stopped writing. Even when there was silence, we left space open for each other. Sometimes the wait hurt, but hope kept us connected. Elena thought about that. Hope, she repeated softly. That night she opened her notebook again. The same one where she wrote when she didn't know what else to do. Dear Leo, I know things get busy. I know space is big. But sometimes I wonder if I'll ever feel fully close to you again. Then I remember something you said, that humans don't give up. So I'm still here, I'm still hoping, and I believe in us, no matter how far. She closed the notebook, then copied the message into a digital note and sent it. Not as a complaint, just as a sign. A reminder that the connection was still there. 2 days passed. No reply, but then. Late one evening, her tablet lit up. A voice message from Leo. She tapped play. Alina, I got your note. I'm sorry for missing our call.
We had a full station.
Lockdown drill? I couldn't even access my messages until now. He sounded tired, but sincere. I've been thinking about what you said. About hope. About staying close. And you're right. I don't want our bond to depend on a perfect schedule. I want it to survive through everything. Even silence. Even mistakes. He paused for a long second. So here's something I haven't told anyone yet. I've applied to be part of the Earth's outreach program. It's a new effort to improve communication between Earth and Mars. If I'm accepted, I'll be working directly with families back home. I'll get to visit Earth next year. For real? Lena's eyes widened. Leo's voice continued. I did it because of you, because you reminded me of what matters. You showed me that being human isn't about never feeling lost. It's about always choosing to find your way back. The message ended with 5 words. I'll always find my way. Lena sat quietly, the message still echoing in her heart. She didn't cry. She didn't speak. She just smiled because something inside her felt steady now, like the ground under her feet wasn't shaking anymore. Even in silence, love could live. Even across stars, people could stay close. Even in a universe full of threats and warnings, humans could still reach for one another with open hands and open hearts. That was what it meant to be human. That was HFY, and that was enough. Asterisk. The Galactic Council issued a threat. Earth responded with a declaration of war. But for one young girl, the real battle wasn't against stars or power. It was against silence, distance, and the fear of being forgotten by someone she still held close. Alina stood by the school window, watching clouds drift across the sky. And so was her heart. It had been another week. No new message from Leo after the last voice note. The one where he told her about applying to the Earth Outreach Program. She had felt hopeful. For days, she imagined what it would be like to see him again. To actually sit next to him, laugh with him, and not have to worry about time limits or signal drops. But now, nothing. No updates. No replies. Her notebook had more pages filled. She wrote something every evening. Not all of it was sad. Some entries were full of hope, full of memories. But some, like today's, were heavier. I want to believe you haven't forgotten me. I want to believe you're still trying. But the longer the silence, the harder it gets. Still. Here. Still hoping. After school, she walked to the observatory with her mother. It had become a habit now, not to look for Mars, but to feel closer to it. Any word? Her mom asked gently. Alina shook her head. They sat together, not speaking, just watching the sky turn orange and gold as the sun dipped below the horizon. You know? Her mother said people used to wait months, years for letters from loved ones across oceans. And yet they waited, because love was stronger than silence. Alina looked up. Even without answers? Yes, her mother said. Sometimes the waiting was the answer. It showed they still cared, that they hadn't given up. That night, Alina did something different. Instead of writing in her notebook, she opened a fresh message window on her tablet. No words, just video. She hit record. Her face appeared on the screen. Her hair was messy from the wind. Her eyes looked tired, but her voice was clear. Hey, Leo. I don't know if you're okay or if you're busy, or if the signal just isn't working, but I'm here, and I'm still waiting, not because I have to, but because I want to. She paused and smiled gently. I know we're human. We make mistakes. We lose time. But we also hold on. That's what makes us strong. That's what makes us ... us. Another pause. A deep breath. I miss you. I believe in you. And I'll be here when you're ready to come back, even if it's just for a minute. She sent the message, and then she let go of the worry. The next day was quiet. So was the one after that. But on the third morning, while walking through the school hallway, her tablet buzzed, a new video file. From Leo. She stopped in her tracks and opened it immediately. His face appeared. And this time, it looked different. There were small tears in his eyes, Alina, he said, his voice rough but kind. I saw your video. I don't deserve how patient you are. The truth is, I didn't get the outreach program. He looked down for a moment. I felt like a failure, like I had let everyone down. I didn't want to tell you because I thought maybe I was becoming someone you wouldn't be proud of. He looked up again, his voice shaking. But then I watched your message. I realized you never asked me to be perfect. You just asked me to be here, to keep trying. And that's what I'm doing now. He leaned forward. I'm applying again to a different program this time, one that helps connect young students from Earth and Mars. If I get it, I'll still come home. Maybe not next month, but someday soon. He took a breath. And until then, I promise to keep showing up. No more silence, even if I only have time for one sentence a day. You matter too much to lose. The video ended with a simple line. Thank you for reminding me what it means to be human. Alina watched the screen slowly fade. She smiled. She felt the space between them getting smaller again, not in miles, but in meaning. Hope didn't fix everything, but it kept people reaching. That was humanity's greatest gift. And Alina, sitting by her telescope, believed in it with all her heart. The Galactic Council issued a threat. Earth responded with a declaration of war. But behind the noise of politics and power, a girl on Earth waited quietly, holding on to something stronger than fear, the hope that even distance couldn't break her connection with the person she missed most. Alina woke up early. The sky outside was still pale with morning light. Birds chirped softly. Everything felt calm, but inside her, there was a storm of thoughts. Leo hadn't sent a message in 5 days. After his last video, where he admitted he didn't get the outreach program, she had felt closer to him again. He had spoken honestly, and that had meant everything. He had promised to keep showing up, even just a little each day. But the little messages had stopped. Alina checked her tablet for the 5th time that morning. Still nothing. She sighed and placed it on the table. Maybe the delay was just technical. Maybe he was busy, maybe. She didn't want to think of the other mob. At school, she sat quietly in class. Her friends noticed she wasn't smiling much. Her teacher asked if she was tired. Yes, she said. A little. After school, she skipped the observatory and went straight home. She opened her notebook and stared at the blank page. She didn't know what to write. For the first time in a while, as the words weren't coming, she felt like she had reached, and maybe it wasn't enough. She looked out her window. The sky was clear, bright blue with the faintest line of stars beginning to appear. Then she picked up her pen. Slowly, carefully, she began to write. Leo, I'm scared to lose you again. Not because I don't believe in you, but because I do. Sometimes it hurts to believe so deeply when the silence stays too long. But I'm not giving up. I just needed to say that today is hard, and I miss you. She didn't send it. Not yet. Folded the paper and put it in the back of her notebook. She needed time. That evening, she helped her mom cook dinner. The warm smell of soup filled the kitchen, and for a little while, she smiled again. It felt good to do something simple, something close to home. But the sadness didn't fully go away. Later that night, as she got ready for bed, her tablet buzzed. Her heart jumped. She grabbed it and opened the message. Leo's voice came through, tired but steady. "Hey, Alina, I'm sorry for the silence. I wanted to write sooner, but we had another emergency drill. And, I'll be honest, I've been feeling down again. The new application didn't go well either. I was embarrassed. I didn't want you to hear me like that." There was a pause. "But then I remembered your voice, your message, your hope. You never asked me to be perfect. You just asked me to be real, and I can do that." His voice softened. "I miss you too. More than I say, and even when I go quiet, I never stop thinking about you, or about us. You're not just my sister, you're my anchor." Alina felt tears rise in her eyes. Leo continued, "I've started a new journal, just like you, right? Something every night, even if I don't send it. It helps. And tonight I wrote this. My sister taught me that silence doesn't mean forgotten. It means keep going." He laughed quietly. "Look at us, writing journals on 2 planets. That's pretty human, isn't it?" He ended with one final sentence. "Still here, still reaching." Alina sat in bed for a long time after that. She didn't cry, she smiled, because now she knew. Connection wasn't about perfect timing or constant talking. It was about not letting go. It was about holding space for someone, even when the space felt too big. That was the human way to reach, to wait, to believe. And as she looked up at the stars again, she felt something in her heart whisper, "We are not alone, not even in silence." Asterisk, the Galactic Council issued a threat. Earth responded with a declaration of war. But beyond the grand battles of planets and power, one girl and her brother found their own victory. The quiet, breakable bond of family, hope, and humanity. Alina stood in the backyard, the night sky above her sparkling with countless stars. Tonight was different. She held a small package in her hands, a gift from Mars. Sent by Leo. Inside was a simple telescope lens, part of an old set he had repaired himself. It was also a note, written carefully on thin paper. "For you, Alina, so we can watch the stars together, even if we're apart." She smiled, tears in her eyes. It had been nearly a year since Leo moved to Mars. They had shared moments of silence, hope, and distance, but also many messages, calls, and promises. Tonight, they were about to share something more. Her tablet buzzed. "Incoming video call, Leo Torres, Mars, Co Lolanwa," she answered. Leo's face appeared on the screen. Smiling widely, "Alina, I'm here for my visit. Earth Outreach finally approved it. I'll be home in 2 days." Her heart soared. They talked late into the night about dreams, fears, the Council's warnings, and Earth's proud response. But mostly they talked about each other. Leo said, "You kept me grounded. When the galaxy felt big and cold, your hope was my home." Alina laughed softly. "And you showed me how brave humans can be, not just in space, but in heart." When the call ended, Alina looked at the stars through the lens Leo sent her. She thought about how far they had come, not just across space, but across fear, silence, and doubt. The next day, Earth buzzed with news about the Galactic Council's latest moves. But Alina and Leo were ready. Together, when he finally stepped off the shuttle, she ran into his arms. They didn't need words. In that moment, the distance disappeared. They were just 2 humans, siblings bound by love and hope, because even in the darkest times, humanity shines brightest when it holds on to each other. That was Earth's true declaration, not war, but connection, not fear, but hope. And that was the greatest strength anyone or any planet could have.